Good morning. This is Irv Shapiro with the Dr. Vax channel, and today we're going to continue the 3D Printing Demystified series, where we introduce basic concepts to both beginners and intermediate users of 3D printers who are looking for a little more detail or some conceptual background. Today, we're going to talk about slicers. Stay tuned and let's learn something together. To begin, let's review the 3 steps in 3D printing. The first thing you have to do is obtain a model. You can download a model from a site like Thingiverse, or you can build that model yourself, draw it yourself in a computer-aided design program like Tinkercad or Fusion 360. The second thing you have to do is convert that 3-dimensional object into a series of layers made up of individual lines. That's how a 3D printer prints. It prints a layer at a time, moves up, prints another layer, moves up, prints another layer. We use a slicer to do that, and we're going to concentrate on that today. And then the third thing we need to do is we need a printer. Now, when you start with the 3-dimensional model, you save that model to a file. That file is called an STL file. STL is a format that's designed to allow 3-dimensionally modeling programs to save models in a way they can be shared between programs. The way it does that is it converts the 3-dimensional shape into a series of very tiny triangles. Because in essence, if you have enough small triangles, you can make any shape. You can see a couple of pictures here. The first picture was viewing it from far away. Then when we zoom in, you can see the individual triangles. But a 3D printer can't print that STL file. So we need to convert it into G-code. G-code is a format designed to tell a printer where to draw each line and when to move up. It was originally designed for computerized milling machines, machines that carve things out of solid blocks. And when you're carving out of a solid block, you tell the machine where to put the drill, where to put the bit, and how to carve. Well, that same process, by dividing it into layers and printing one layer at a time, can be used with a 3D printer. So let's look together at a couple alternatives for slicers. The first slicer you see on the screen here is Cura. Cura is open source, meaning anyone can use it for free, but it's supported by Ultimaker, a manufacturer of 3D printers. Now, their 3D printers start at thousands of dollars and may not be appropriate for your very first hobbyist 3D printer, but they're used extensively in the business world, in the architectural world for modeling, in the engineering world. They are a serious player in the 3D printing business. And as part of their business, they support Cura, the open source slicer. Now, if we look at this slicer at Cura, we'll see on the right-hand side, there are a series of very simple parameters you can set. You can set the quality, draft, higher resolution, lower resolution. You can select the amount of fill. The amount of fill is how dense the model is. When you print a 3D model, you don't fill it in as a solid model. That would use a lot of wasted plastic. Instead, you print some type of grid inside, which is a sparse grid. The density of that grid, 10%, 20% is very common. 30 or 40% is even common, determines how much plastic you use, and it determines how fast your print prints. Because more fill you have, the slower it's going to print. In addition, the quality parameter, which is listed as layer height, 0.2 millimeters, 0.15 millimeters, 0.3 millimeters, is another indication of speed versus quality. The thicker the layers, the faster it'll print. So the thicker the layers, the less fill, the faster it'll print, but the lower quality and the less strength your product will have. You'll also see two other parameters on the top. One determines whether to use supports. So if you have a shape where there's plastic that's being printed over the middle of nowhere, you can think about how that would be difficult because the printer is going to draw a line here, but it would droop in the middle. So you can tell the slicer to put temporary plastic in there that you'll then pop out afterwards. Those are called supports. In addition, you can tell the slicer to put additional plastic under your model or around your model that will improve the adhesion of your model to the print bed. The adhesion parameters are rafts, brims, and skirts. A skirt is just a line drawn around your model to help the extruder, to help the printer start printing plastic. It's sort of wasted plastic to get it going. A brim is plastic around the outside of your model that connects to the edges very lightly to sort of give it some additional support, create a base, but not plastic underneath. A raft is actually a plastic pedestal built under your print, a platform under your print to make sure it adheres firmly. Rafts are the hardest to get off, brims are easier to get off, and skirts don't touch your model, so they're very easy to get off. Next, once we slice our model, it has been divided into layers. You can see an example of a layer here. And now you can see an example of a series of layers and the layer it's currently printing. Most slicers have the ability to show you the individual layers. Another popular slicer is Slic 3R. And some people just pronounce it as slicer, but it's SLIC 3R. It's made very popular by Prusa. Prusa makes a very high-end line of printers, high-end for hobbyists, sort of the top-end hobbyist printers. They sell for $750 as a kit and more expensive, over $1,000, depending on the options you get fully assembled. They're very high-quality printers. I have a Prusa i3 MK3 I built from a kit, and they ship with a version of Slic 3R that's customized for their printers. Another alternative in slicers is Simplify 3D. Simplify 3D is a paid slicer. You purchase it. I believe it's now on a subscription plan. It's not inexpensive. It's over $100. And for a long time, it was one of the highest quality slicers available. The free alternatives, Cura and Slic 3R and Matter Control, are catching up very rapidly with Simplify 3D. And so unless there are very specific things you need, I think starting with one of the free slicers is a better alternative. Now, the last free slicer I want to mention is Matter Control by MatterHackers. I think this is the best slicer to use if you want to directly connect your printer with a cable to your computer. The connections work very, very reliably. I use it with a low-end printer with a Monoprice Mini Select all the time. I've used it with my Ender, with my Prusa. I like it a lot, both as a slicer and in terms of control of a printer. Now, all of the slicers claim to be able to connect with a cable directly to a printer. Slic 3R works great with a Prusa. I've had difficulty with Cura. The support in the later versions of Cura is not as robust for printers other than their parent company's printer. So if you want to directly connect your printer to a computer and you're just getting started, I think Matter Control is a very, very good way to go. Now, you can use Matter Control as your slicer and your printer control program, or you can slice your model in Cura and load the slice G-code into Matter Control and just use it to drive the printer. Okay, folks, I hope that this 3D printing demystified episode was helpful, that you learned something. If you did, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Please share this with other people, including people that are either beginners or just interested in how 3D printing works. Thanks so much. Let's continue to learn things together.